everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Easton Park Talk. I'm here with our neighbor, Daniel Sharp, who is a realtor. And prior to becoming an excellent realtor and advocate for his clients, he was a drum line teacher for many, many years. So we are going to talk about real estate, drums, teaching, and just kind of passionate about being a new entrepreneur. So let's jump right in. Maybe let's start with Easton Park. Like, when did y'all move in? How long have you been here? Who was your builder?
Sure. So my wife and I moved in, well, then girlfriend moved into Easton Park in 2021.
Okay.
So we put earnest money down actually late 2020 and then got a Brookfield home.
Okay.
Brookfield courtyard home.
Okay. Where are those? I feel like I should know that, but I don't.
Skyline. So they're building Skyline. They're building them in Prospect Park too.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. So those courtyard homes are the shared driveway with the 4 homes attached.
Oh, got it. Got it. I guess I didn't
Paysetter
realize.
and Brookfield do those.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. So you like share driveway. Everyone goes to their perspective.
Mhm.
So are you friends with your like court mates?
This is being recorded, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
To a point.
Yeah.
You are very close to each other.
Okay.
So for better or worse. And so one of my neighbors, very nice guy, loves to blast music in the middle of the day with his windows open.
Okay.
A different neighbor, very nice guy, loves to work out and blast music from his garage.
Got it.
So after living in the courtyard homes, I'm not the biggest proponent of them because
Understood.
I've dealt with that.
Yeah.
And ours also they don't have any yard space, and having a dog, that's
Yeah.
important to us. So, with courtyards, they were great price point.
Sure.
Great price per square foot. It's going to become a rental for us in the future.
Awesome.
But there's definitely pros and cons with that.
Very cool. I think that what's the saying, like good fences make great neighbors or something like
Sure.
that. Like in the suburbs, like we're all so close anyway. Like even us, like we have a somewhat of a larger yard,
hmm
and like we're close to our neighbors. Like there's no outside privacy,
Sure.
which is fine. But like I don't know, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of space.
Well, and that was our first house.
Mm-hmm.
So we really just, we liked the floor plan. We liked the neighborhood. So we went for it. It was also, like I said, we put earnest money in 2020 and that market was crazy. So it was
Yeah.
if you don't put earnest money down today, you're
Right.
not getting a house.
Right.
So we just had to make a split decision of like, yes, let's do it. Now that the market's calmed down, but B, we're just a little wiser with picking homes. It's more about the lot for us than the house itself.
Okay. Very cool.
We want privacy. We want a big backyard. We want to entertain guests on our big patio.
Yeah.
So we've kind of figured out what's important to us from this experience living in this house.
Got it. Yeah, that's cool. And I think that y'all built that house, or
Mhm.
was it like a spec home? You
We built it.
We built this, and this is our first home too. And like, there's so many things we would do different. You just don't know.
Sure.
Like, you're a realtor, so like, even as a realtor, when you were going through that, were you like, what did you learn?
Well, so it was interesting for me because I got my license in 2020.
Okay.
So I got the license and went through that process, and it was one of my first transactions was my own
was
house.
your own home? That's cool.
So I learned a lot of lessons, but thankfully I was the only person, getting hurt by the missteps I was making.
Yeah. That's really cool. So you went from you were teaching.
Mhm.
So did you quit teaching in 2020 because of the pandemic and how classes were going, or like what was that? What prompted that change?
So I'll try to keep it short. It's a
Okay.
long process,
That's okay.
but I went to Texas State to get a music education degree. I
Okay.
found out I was very gifted in drumming when I got to high school.
Okay.
I found that out about myself and
Cool.
found out I could make a career just teaching music. It sounded like a dream job. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So that was from freshman year in high school. That's what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Got my first job up in Fort Worth. Loved it. Was a middle school band director for 4 years.
Cool.
Then went to San Antonio, taught high school for 2 years. And then I got my dream job, which was Aikens High School in Austin.
Cool.
And I was the percussion director. I didn't have to teach band. I didn't have to teach trumpet or flute or pretend I knew the fingerings to a saxophone. Like
Got
I
it.
just taught percussion.
Very
So
cool.
drum lines and all that. The things that changed for me were I got married.
Okay.
So, when you're single and in your 20s, it's okay to be a workaholic. But
Yeah.
when you have someone else in your life, you want to spend more time at home.
Of course.
And COVID really showcased that for me.
Okay.
So when COVID hit, obviously school shut down. I was working remotely. And I don't know if you were ever in band, if you had that.
I played the
that
saxophone.
background. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially in Texas, were you in band in Texas?
Mhm.
It was so many hours. It's so much rehearsal time before school, after school. And Texas is so competitive that if you want to be good, you need to put in 12-hour days. And I'm competitive. I want to be good at whatever I'm doing. So I'm going to put in the 12-hour days. Then COVID hit, and suddenly I have all this free time. I'm not quite sure what to do with myself. My friends are telling me now's a great time to buy a house. Interest rates are low. I had no idea what that meant. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I decided I'm going to get my license. I have time now. And I wanted to, A, learn something new, because all I knew was music. And B, just be my own realtor on my own house.
Yeah.
So pay off my closing costs with my own commission.
Yeah.
So it really just started like that.
Okay.
Still was just going to teach, but wanted to have this license on the side, maybe help friends with rentals or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when 2022 hit, I got a call that my mom had late stage pancreatic cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So that was a big hit to us. I never had anyone close to my family pass away. And my whole family lives in Scotland. So I'm originally from Scotland.
Okay.
So
And your mom was in Scotland?
So they moved over when I was 11. We moved here.
Okay.
But they moved back because they were kind of missing their grandchildren growing up.
Sure.
So we obviously dropped everything in 2022, and my family had never even met Samantha. She had just become my fiance right when we found this out.
Oh.
So it was really important for me that they met, they got to know each other.
Of course.
But that was another 2 months of not teaching, not really doing anything, and me realizing my priorities in my 20s were backwards.
Okay.
I was putting so much time in working, and I'd kind of missed my family. I mean, obviously they're 3,000 miles away, so there's a distance problem, but there were so many times I could have flown over and I chose not to.
Sure.
Or I could have called and I was like, I have rehearsal, I'm busy.
Yeah.
And it just hit home that I missed a lot of my nephews and nieces growing up. And then with my mom passing, it's like, you don't know when when the end's going to come.
Yeah.
And I don't want to teach and be in this rat race until I retire at 65 and then, leave 2 years later. Like, you don't know. So that's when I really made the commitment of, I think I want to change careers. I have this license. Let's actually be serious about this and let's make the transition.
Yeah.
But it was scary. Like going from a salaried position in a community that I was well known in. I'd done it for 10 years. My percussion program was nationally acclaimed. Like I was good at my job to a completely different field. No one knows me in this field.
Yeah.
Trying to start over in something else.
Yeah.
What definitely took a lot of courage, but also planning on my part. So
yeah,
I made the full-time switch. Like I'm done teaching in 2023.
Okay.
But
so
mentally,
relatively new.
Relatively new.
Yeah.
But 22, I made the switch mentally, and I told everyone I have one more year teaching, but all of my free time is spent on, I'm risk averse. I don't want to jump out of something that I know and just hope that I do well in real estate.
Yeah.
So I spent a whole year prepping I want to make sure that, I'm helping my clients make informed decisions. It's important that I do my job well because it has massive effects on clients if I don't do my job well.
Right.
So
yeah, you're helping people
year.
with the biggest purchase of their life.
Exactly.
A lot of the times.
Right.
Let's just talk about teaching for a second, because I think that I don't think teachers get enough credit, and it is so the teaching, how pay works for teachers is always kind of baffled me. We own a human resource company, so I'm very interested in how people are compensated and what are the rules and how overtime and time spent and prep time and all the stuff that people generally get paid for. Teachers don't. You just get your salary and there's no way you could do your job in an 8-hour day.
No.
And then
can. It's just not going to be done well.
Yeah. And most people that get into teaching aren't oh, I got to go get this
They
job.
care.
They care, right? And then you add band to it, or any extracurricular, like a coach or
exactly
UIL, or all of these things where you're pretty much donating your time to an outside activity, like football games, competitions, pep rallies, all the things, but you're not getting paid extra for that.
Well, you do, but
Okay.
it's a stipend. So that's not a set hourly rate. It's, you're a coach, you're a band director, we're going to give you an extra $3,000 for the year.
For the year,
Right.
So so really not really.
It's not anything, but there is something in your contract where I technically get paid more than a math teacher. say.
Sure.
But it is based on experience. So
Okay.
someone who has taught for 30, 40 years, they're on a scale of they must be a master because they've done it for that long, which typically is true. The longer you're in it, the better you're at it. Versus a first year teacher is going to get minimum that they offer.
Right. Yeah, I just think it's very, very, very cool. And then like when you go into the extracurriculars like band or coaching or what have you, like it's just a total different, like I think, level of like time and commitment and planning because you're teaching, right? But then you're also having to like probably put shows together for like the drum line, which was always the coolest part of the band. Like if we can be honest.
And that's honestly, it's such a weird profession because there's a profound amount of I'm making a difference in people's lives. And I'm getting satisfaction from not a paycheck, but I know I was a positive influence on that child or that colleague. So teachers typically are in it for the passion of whatever they're teaching, their subject area.
Sure.
Like I said, for me, my priority really just shifted because I still love percussion. I still love interacting with teenagers. Middle school 6th graders are my favorite kids to interact with.
You're brave.
12-year-olds they're at that perfect age where they're not psycho little kids that you can't control and they don't understand reason.
Okay.
But they're not old enough where they think they're equal to you, like they're an adult. So you just have to raise your voice once and then they become little kids again. And they're very easy to mold.
Okay.
Which was great for a percussion teacher where I need you to move your hand this way exactly the way I'm talking. I need you to rehearse exactly the way I'm asking you to. So I liked them because they were easy to I could see immense progress with that age versus a 16-year-old who thinks they know better than me, you know.
Right. And like you can't tell me what to do.
Sure.
Kind of a thing. That's cool. I remember being a middle schooler and in band and we were horrible. Like
I hated being in middle school at that age.
Yeah.
But as a teacher I enjoy it.
I would imagine, I don't know, we were so like I was in band only in middle school, and then I didn't go into like I went to a very small school, and so it was like it was a little town in Texas. You probably know if you went to Texas State San Marcos. So like a little outside of San Marcos is this very small town called Seguin, and then further past Seguin is Stockdale.
Ooh, I know it by name only. I've never been to Stockdale.
It's a little like I grew up down a dirt road, like a red dirt road way down, and like so our band, and I loved playing the saxophone. I was really good at it. I really enjoyed being in band. Like I liked reading music. I liked playing. Like it was very cool to be a small piece of something very large. I thought like music, which was so cool. But I like high school. I was just like, I wanted to go more like athletics, but, and there was only path of band was marching band. There was no like orchestra, there was no choir, it was just you go in a band and you're in the marching band and that's it. And I didn't want to wear the hat and I didn't want to march and like I was always like really like kind of intimidated by it because like I remember the amount of brain power it took for me to read music and play.
Sure.
I was like, you have to add walking in a choreographed way to that too at the same time with a big floppy hat, like with a feather on it. Like I couldn't do it. I don't think I would be coordinated enough, or maybe I wasn't skilled enough. Anyway, I digress. But was crazy about like being in middle school in the 6th, 7th and 8th grade that we played or that I was in the band, and we were so bad in band. Like it was cool because we got to go to a totally different building and we all had our little instrument cases and it was like the coolest thing at the time. But we were so bad, like just the guys would start being just really bad on their instruments or super loud, and then everyone gets into it, and like just a bunch of heathens. Maybe it was just the class I grew up with, but
there is something with small towns. It's
Okay.
just less resources.
Yeah. We probably didn't have the best band director either. Like,
Sure.
I'll never
hit
forget
or
him.
miss.
His name was Mr. Coker, and he was a rather large man, and talked about it a lot to us about health and like all this stuff, and just kids are so mean, and like Mr. Coker, he was excellent though. Like I have fond memories of him and like what he taught us, and
It's interesting when I speak with adults who are in band but they're no longer in bands.
Yeah.
There is an enthusiasm always when they talk about playing their instrument and the friends they made in it.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way from being in it and teaching in it for 10 years.
Okay.
I got married last summer.
Congrats.
Thank you. And all of my groomsmen were in a drumline with me at some point or another.
Very cool.
So my whole life, like personal life, has been built around other band people because I enjoy band people. They speak my language.
Yeah.
But it is always interesting when I hear people speak about it who have nothing to do with music anymore. It is just, I don't know, it's a great community of people, and it develops so many skills that you don't realize you need until you leave
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's like, being able to read music is a thing. I grew up, I played the saxophone in band, but I grew up poorly playing the piano just because my grandma did and my mom did and my cousins all do, and we can read the music and play. And it's like, I don't know that I could do it well anymore. Like by memory, I could probably do like Christmas songs because that's really what we did. But like to know that I could sit down and read like treble and bass music and like, that's like, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a knowledge thing. That's it's confidence. And I think what I learned most in band was like being a small part of something so big was just so very cool to me. And that like the part that any one instrument is playing, it's not the song, right?
Right.
But then when you put it all together, it becomes this like song that people know. It was that just like always blew me away. I always thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest things I took away, especially from being a band director, was it built a work ethic in me that I didn't realize I had in myself. And that really helped me when I made the switch, because I believed in myself. Like, I know I'm going to wake up early. I know I'm going to set out large goals and tasks for me to accomplish, being my own boss. But I wasn't that person, in my early 20s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
doing that kind of job where it's important that you show up, because there's kids freezing outside the band hall if you don't show up.
Right.
Like, it's very obvious your
Right.
responsibilities. It definitely taught me a really strong work ethic that
Awesome.
I'm happy I got that experience. I don't think if I got into real estate 10 years ago, it probably would have ended poorly for me.
Yeah. So we do human resources, like I mentioned, and some of that is recruiting and hiring people. And some of the best people that you can hire, and it was a big wave of people, like of teachers coming out of 2020. So no matter what job they're going into, teachers are excellent candidates for almost anything, because there's a level of organization, there's a level of patience, there's the ability to train and teach, there's like a level of passion of some sort that you want people around you to collaborate and cooperate, and like they're excellent. And to go off on your own, also like writing a curriculum, you probably wrote your business plan very similarly.
Exactly.
And like it's there's so many skills that come with that, and the ability to teach people is just like it's such a gift.
Yeah.
It's such a gift. I don't have it. My team would tell you that too. And like it's just so helpful, not only to like people that you work with, but probably your clients. Teaching someone how to buy a house is a very complicated process. And so I'm sure that you have a plan for how you communicate with them.
Yes.
Will you talk me through that? Like how do you work with your clients to, like a first-time home buyer? Like what would your process be with them?
So first-time home buyer, the first thing is I want to show them how many different homes are out there and keep the excitement of what is out there, because a lot of, especially news media, is saying homes are too expensive right now. First-time home buyers are priced out of the market. There's no point even looking. So right now, when I get a first-time home buyer, it's important to me that I show them this is feasible. Like, you can build wealth through buying a house. These are all the options you have. We sit down, we talk through what's important to them, like their top 3 criteria. Is it location? You want to be close to work? Is it the mortgage payment? You want it as low as possible. We talk about what is a mortgage payment, like what goes into that. We got to figure out the tax rate. There's many aspects to this. And then we just start looking at houses, because especially for the first-time home buyer, it is an emotional buy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like I've actually helped ex-students of mine buy their first house.
Cool. Very cool.
And I've started getting into Mr. Sharp mode, where I go, okay, so you're going to have principal, and then you're going to have interest, then you're going to have taxes and insurance. And they go, how big is the yard? I'm like, okay, you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
I understand. So I've pulled back and waited till towards the end of we found the property. You really love it. Now let's go through the nuts and bolts and make sure you're making an informed financial decision.
Yeah.
But I really don't change how I communicate. It's interesting. I've gone to a lot of realtor, workshops.
Sure.
And a lot of them are based on the person's personality. This is how you need to address them. And I understand that to a point.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, as long as I'm clear and, myself, I know that's obvious to say, but
I don't think it's super
I'm
obvious.
a dry person. I'm quick to the point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like that. And maybe some people want more of a flowery presentation. But I know if I tried that, it would be inauthentic. So
Yeah, and people feel that.
right.
And it's like there's a lot of realtors in Easton Park, as you
Yes.
know, a
Mhm.
lot. And we've talked to several of them, and everyone has their own niche, right? Like
Right.
what they're good at. And how they deliver information. Our realtors that helped us, it's a husband and wife team that are very entrepreneurial. I believe they're with EXP, which is who you're with, right? They love it. They're called the Pettit Group. They're excellent. We became like, we know them, like we're friends with them.
Right.
And I wouldn't say we're good friends, but very supportive of each other's businesses. And we trust them. Like you find a loyalty,
Right.
and like people are going to buy another house.
Mhm.
Like-
Yeah, no, that's something another aspect why I was concerned about switching to this was I'm not a salesman.
Okay.
I don't want to pressure people into doing anything they don't want to do.
Sure.
And my thought of a real estate agent was someone who loves money,
Mhm.
wants to make as much money as possible, and is almost like a sleazy car salesman. That was just my opinion of, and I didn't know any real estate agents. It was just what I thought.
Yeah.
And then a lot of band directors have become realtors.
Interesting.
So I have quite a few band director friends, especially in San Antonio, that I contacted while I was still teaching. And I just asked, like, how do you approach this? Because I know you as a teacher and you really cared about your students' like well-being.
Yeah.
And they said it's the same thing. Like if you have that same care for your clients' well-being and not just see it as another transaction ticked off a list, you develop relationships like you do with your students when they graduate. It's the same concept if you view it like that. You can do it as a transaction-based process, but you're missing out on a whole breadth of new relationships and people feeling like they can come to you with questions. Because real estate is something I think about every day. Most people don't. Most people just live their lives, and then every few years they decide to sell or buy a house, and suddenly they have need for a realtor. Much like it sounds like with your realtors, I want to develop a relationship where yearly I'm giving them, hey, now's the time for taxes, or let's look at that. Do we need to protest that? Like being their financial advisor for their home.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to go about it as a realtor.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a vulnerable purchase because you're looking into people's financials and their banks and their earnings and their credit and all that stuff, which can be overwhelming. And for some it could be embarrassing, it could, or probably to tell people too, like you're not in a position to buy, and not wasting your time or their time being like, hey, you really maybe need to work on your credit for a few more years and then call me back. But like, I just feel like people would be more trusting of that, like direct information instead of like, well, we'll see if we can get you approved or like get their hopes up, build their dreams. They're excited about a house. And then they go through underwriting. People are like, and
Sure.
It's not an option. And we've heard stories where that happens to people and they knew, like, that real estate agent knew they couldn't buy the whole time, and it's like, one, why waste your own time? Anyway, it could be like, but then maybe they do think like, throw a bunch at a wall and see what sticks. But I think that everyone needs something different. Some people do want the bells and whistles and flowery presentation.
And I just need to be comfortable with, I'm not going to be, perfect for everyone. So that just kind of comes with the territory. Yeah.
We were talking to Sherry Smith, who has been in Easton Park forever.
Yeah.
And obviously well known. She has a Montessori school, the whole nine. She's excellent. We love Sherry. And she was like, when I moved into Easton Park, she was down in Bryant Park originally. Like she was like OG Easton Park. She was like, I'm gonna be the only like Easton Park expert. And then another girl moved in and she's like, they started collaborating together. And now she's like, there's so many homes. There's enough for all of us to sell and do very well. And it's like it seems like a very supportive community of realtors in Easton Park.
It really is. I actually just saw over here Tim Andrew.
Yeah,
too,
he's amazing.
He came to one of my open houses, just introduced himself. I was like, okay, we're not competitors in this. I like that. Just like with education, we weren't competitors. So I've gotten a lot of just positive welcome to the community almost from the realtors, not just in Easton Park, but I have a friend from college that switched to become a realtor 9 years ago.
Okay.
And we have very similar sphere of friends.
Okay.
And I was worried. I was like, I'm going to tell him I'm now a realtor full time and Jason's going to be upset. And he said, congrats. There's plenty of homes out there, plenty of people that need help.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be fine. And we've actually now become accountability partners
Oh, very cool.
where we meet every day at 9 a.m. on Zoom just to say, what are you doing? How are your transactions going?
Excellent.
What are you doing building your business? So
very cool.
I've gotten a lot of support from that. And I've met Sherry too. I did an open house for one of her listings.
She's so cool.
And she's super nice. Yeah. Very helpful.
She's excellent. And Tim is, Tim was on the podcast recently. I think his newspaper idea is excellent. The Easton Park Gazette. It's
I didn't realize he started that.
That's him. Yeah.
Okay.
You can take a look if you want.
I just thought he popped like
that's him.
ad space on the Gazette.
He's creating that and
That's really cool.
Printing it. I think he went to print last night, right? With the next one.
I think so.
He's first of all, Tim is very cool. He and I connected almost instantly. He's just he's so funny. He's so kind. But he said the same thing. He's like, there's enough houses to go around for all of us to be successful. And Sherry said the same thing. Araceli has said the same thing. Jason, have you met Jason and Henny?
No.
Jason Hastings and Henny Novak. They're a husband and wife team that live here in Easton Park. They're wonderful agent. Like, they're very cool. Henny was here last night doing podcast stuff, or Wednesday night. Sorry, but it's just Easton Park is such a supportive community, no matter what. But it's been really cool to see like the real estate community support one another, because I feel like it could be very snaky.
Sure.
Before a lifetime ago, before we started this business, I was in commercial real estate on the operations and HR side. And like, those brokers were scrappy. Like, they had to be to protect their own.
Sure.
And like, I would assume residential's it could be the same.
It could be. This is my only experience with it. Something similar. I won't give specific names. There's enough builders where I can keep this anonymous, but I know for Brookfield, they have 4 or 5 sales reps, and the way they do their commissions is they share it. They split it evenly. So there's no competition between the sales reps.
Okay.
They're not trying to get a client.
Yeah,
They're all just
like,
working together.
It's a pool.
There is another builder that I found out doesn't work that way.
Okay.
And I interviewed one of their reps, and they said, don't talk about those, floor plans, because I don't sell those. And I was like, that seems like that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Because it pits coworkers against each other.
Right.
So that surprised me, and I was like, oh, that's why when I walk into Brookfield, everyone's so jovial and happy, and it's a team.
Yeah, because they're making
right,
money.
They're helping each other.
Yeah, which is the best way. Like, many different mentors have told me, and I've been so lucky to have incredible mentors in my professional world, is it's like, if you open your arms and you work with people, like, we're all going to make more money. And that's what it's all about, right? Like, we can all say, oh, I'm passionate about HR. If I didn't have to work because we were like independently wealthy, I wouldn't work. Like, so like, if we can help each other reach our financial goals and work together, it's just, like you said, that you walk in and they're jovial, they're happy, there's like less stress instead of the guys that like, and for the clients, it's probably a much better experience than two house, reps coming and like, be like, oh no, work with me and here's the best houses. And you're not like, the client's not first. In that point, it's their own wallet, which you can't blame them for wanting to make the most money. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're dealing with someone, it's their home. Like,
right.
And it's not an inexpensive purchase. And to buy in Easton Park, there's so many on top of costs, right? Like, it's very expensive to live in Easton Park.
Yeah, the tax rate's quite high.
It's very high. And then the mud district, I'm sure that plays into it. And, the whole nine. When we were looking to buy here, we looked at across the street and here and down at the reserves on McKinney Fall or McKinney Park or whatever. And we were like, oh, Easton Park why would we do that? And I'm so glad we did, because it's been an excellent community of people. But it's not inexpensive to be here. Like, you got to want it.
Yeah, we considered, so my wife and I don't know if we've spoken about this yet, but we're going to buy a house in 10 days.
The Easton Park Shuffle.
Right.
Love it.
We almost bought a KB home instead.
Okay.
Because they're cheaper. You just get way more square footage for a much lower price.
Significantly less. And huge yards, and it's a very nice, super beautiful community right across the street.
And it's there. I mean, it's the same neighborhood, basically.
Right.
But it's like little things that we took for granted where, it is beautiful, but it's all stone exteriors. And when you drive down that street, this is a different neighborhood than Easton Park, for sure.
Yeah, you can tell.
And that's something we really appreciated with, especially living in Skyline. There's so many different builders. And so when you're walking down the street, It's weird to say because I have nothing to do with this, but when I have family or friends visit me for the first time, I'm proud to show them where I live
Yeah,
because it's a cool neighborhood.
it's a cool the houses are cool. Yeah, so let's talk about the Easton Park Shuffle really quick because it is a thing. I
Sure.
don't know if we named it that, but we did. Okay, we did.
Trademark.
Yeah, trademark Moss Consulting. But the Easton Park Shuffle, it was during COVID. So many people, well, and not even during COVID, like it was happening. Like people built down in Bryant Park and, here in Nob Hill too. So Bryant Park was phase 1. Nob Hill is phase 2. And then COVID happened. So it was just Nob Hill and Easton Park for like a long time. And people in Bryant Park and Nob Hill knew, kind of like the Easton Park concept has been proved. And so now there's many more builders who are interested in coming in and building and different house models. And even the same builders were going into the new phases, but selling different houses. Like the concept was proved, which is cool. And then people were like, oh, well, we could sell our house and get another house or rent out our house and get another house in Easton Park. So we started calling that the Easton Park Shuffle because so many people from like Bryant Park and Nob Hill have like bought and built homes in like Skyline and Kiki and Prospect. And what's the other one over there? Discovery. And there will continue to be more and more and more and more. And it's just very cool. So like, I think that says so much about like Easton Park and the community of Easton Park and that it's like, you don't want to leave. Like, It's just so cool.
Yeah, no, all of my friends don't live near here.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for me and my wife to move to North Austin. But we just fell in love with the community.
It's so cool. And like, I think too, it's such a supportive community and it's so entrepreneurial. Like, we got a little micro economy going on in Easton Park. Like, you can get a massage, you can get food delivered, you can... The company that cleans our house is out of Easton Park. Like she lives in Easton Park.
The staging company I use, Michelle Kirsten.
Michelle's amazing. We love Michelle. She just did the Easton Park Shuffle. She and her husband or her partner.
Yeah, she told me they were in Skyline.
Yeah, they were Union Park West, and now they live across from 2 of our best friends, and in Skyline, and just so cool. It's so cool, and like. It is kind of like I grew up in a very small town, as we talked about, but like it's kind of like living in a small town. Like everybody knows everybody. There's always someone there to support you. Like it's just really cool. And I think that what we saw during COVID was at that time, it really was just Bryant Park and Nob Hill. And a lot of people lost their jobs and were doing anything that they could to make money. So like people started making cupcakes, making bread, making cleaning homes, like all kinds of little things. And the neighborhood was like, yes, we will support you. We will help you. And it was just a really beautiful thing to watch that kind of happen. Meanwhile, we were all terrified because it was like everything stopped building, remember? And the price of wood went like sheet wood. What is that? What is wrong with me? Sheets of wood, plywood. The cost went way up, remember?
Right.
And like, we were all a little worried that we were going to be in this like did you see Arrested Development, the show?
Yes, but I don't know where you're going with this.
We thought Easton Park, because we had bought early thinking that we were like that this is going to be this master community with all of these people moving in. COVID stopped, building stopped, costs were going way up, and we were like, we might have miscalculated here. Like we're in this Arrested Development situation. And then Steve and I were walking one day with the dogs and like we saw all those little plumbing pipes. It was almost like a scene from an Alien movie. It was just like plumbing pipes for as far as you could see, which is now Skyline. And we were like, whew, we're going to be okay. Like our investment was worth it. Yeah. So like, anyway, enough about me. I'm just over here chatting. You're in a neighborhood with a lot of real estate agents. What makes you different?
So that was the trick, right?
Okay.
Like I said, I did this full time starting in 2023. Didn't even think about promoting my services in Easton Park because I knew there were so many realtors here. I just focused on my sphere, focused on Austin in general.
Yeah.
So the way I saw myself as being different from them, number one, the reason I started the YouTube channel, Living in Easton Park, is I wanted people to just get to know me. Right?
Yeah.
Part of why I felt like I did well as an educator is I got along well with my students.
Okay.
Not because I had more information than anyone else. It was just they figured out that I cared about them, and then they started wanting to work hard for me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't figure out a way to show, hey, this person you've never met before cares about your well-being. through, mailing postcards, like typical ways that realtors typically do
Sure.
it. So I thought, well, I can just do video, which is ironic because I don't like being on camera.
Yeah,
I'm an
same.
introvert. But thankfully, teaching, talking to kids for 10 years, talking to large groups, it just gets you comfortable. And I'm sure you know it too, just doing the same thing over and over again, it becomes comfortable.
Yeah.
So doing that channel, I think really helped me just be a little different because I didn't see anyone else doing it quite like how I'm doing it with vlog tours and trying to be educational, but then also letting some of my personality come through with that.
Yep.
And then as far as specific services that I offer that maybe another realtor does or doesn't, if for buyers, I'm offering paying for a moving company for them. So they don't have to
Cool.
worry about that side of it. And then doing a utility connect service. So 2 weeks before they move in, someone calls them and says, this is how you set up electricity, internet, gas, like these are all the things you want me to set it up for you. So it takes a lot of things off of their plate because it's already a stressful thing preparing for closing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find, well, what can I do? And so
that's such an excellent thing. We had someone, he's brand new to Easton Park. You should watch his podcast, Dr. Jeff. He's a podiatrist. He's brand new. He hasn't been in Easton Park even for a month. And when we had finished the podcast, we walked downstairs. He's like, hey, who does the trash? And we were like, oh, Austin Utilities. And he was like, I can't figure out, like, he was just like, it just doesn't make sense. I called. And so, and it's like, people are working, people are closing on their home,
exactly.
They're moving, they're nesting, they're unpacking. Like, it's a whole thing. So to help set up utilities it's
just one less thing that they don't have to think about.
It's really kind of you. Like, that's the teacher in you. It's like a step further.
Sure.
It's like one step further of like, how can I better this situation, or how can I like drive home this lesson or whatever. And like, I bet that your clients love that.
Well, and it's something that I just learned from, I think I was a good teacher because I was a good performer and I could, what's the word? Not empathetic. I was empathetic to what my students were dealing with.
Yeah.
Same with buying a house. I just bought my first house in 2021. Like, it's fresh in my brain, all the problems that came with that.
Yeah.
And so now it's, okay, well, how can I avoid those for my clients? Like, make it better for them. And then from the listing side, services I offer, I pay for professional photography. I think most realtors do, but some may not. I pay for it out of my own pocket. I don't ask for a reimbursement. I pay for professional staging consultation with Michelle to come out. I pay for professional video to promote the property, professional website, virtual tours, like a lot of things that most realtors, from what I've seen on the MLS, don't offer.
Yeah.
Or ask the client, well, you got to pay for this.
Yeah.
And so I take a lot of the risk onto myself early before I even get paid, because the only way I'll get paid is if we sell the house.
Right.
And I feel like getting everything done professionally by a photographer and a stager is going to help us sell the house.
For
So
sure.
It's kind of I don't understand realtors who may not want to put the money up front to do that, because it just helps everyone at the end of it.
Yeah, I think I can give some insight into that, just as we've been in business for over 7 years, and there's a level of passion in the beginning where you're like, of course this is how this should be done. And I think that what we've tried very hard to do is keep that passion, even if we're tired, or even if cash flow's low, or even if all these things. But we're very much like you and I think it takes a special person to keep that up, even when it's not maybe in your heart anymore, but it's the right thing to do, is finding alignment early is the key to everything. And when people feel like you're on their team, they're going to work with you, and you're going to get it across the finish line. And so I think that that's so smart to it's like making an investment in the business deal, or like in the deal overall, and in them like personally, because when they need to sell their house, or they got a new job and they're moving up to Georgetown, they're going to call you and be like, I know that he's going to take care of me.
And it is one of those businesses where if you really focus on the client's well-being and keep in contact with them, like, it's not just we're trying to get the transaction done and beating the average. It's not just that, but truly trying to develop the relationship. If they want it. If they don't, don't go hammering.
Don't be weird.
Right. Don't go door knocking. But I feel like that is, from what I've heard from other band directors that became realtors that are successful now, especially in the San Antonio area, that's the trick. It's just you gotta be consistent with your values and morals and how you treat people. Yep. And then it snowballs.
Yeah. Well, and then referrals, and
exactly,
because people talk, and even like I'm sure your neighbors, there was a but I'm sure that there's a spreadsheet somewhere in your on your laptop or in your mind or however you do it of like how much money it makes sense to put up front
Mhm.
versus like what's too much, what's too little. There was a girl when we were renting our home while this one was being built that it was like because it took a long time to build this house. This is way back when it was. Anyway,
Who is your builder?
it's a company called Dreamfinders. They're no
Mhm.
longer building in Easton Park, but we love our home. We walked in and we were like, this is the exact house that we had talked about before we even started looking. So we're thrilled with it, but it took a long time to build. And so it was like 2 full years while we were waiting. And this young realtor, you could tell she was like probably fresh out of college, super sweet, but she was bringing over very nice, like she didn't introduce herself to us, but she would leave pies on the neighborhood doorstep of the neighborhood that we were renting in. But like it had to be, she was probably spending $40 per house just to drop stuff
Yeah.
off. And that was just our community. And she did it on Thanksgiving and on Christmas 2 years in a row. And it was like, either like I hope
What's
someone's
the return on this
yeah,
investment?
like I hope she was
Yeah.
tracking it because in my like the second year I was like, wow, she
Done
must have
a lot of
really done a
business.
lot of
Right.
business.
It's working.
But like I don't it was just you know her card was on it. It just to me it didn't seem like an effective marketing.
Right.
And how do you track it? You know, like I guess the few that call back after they ate your pie, they're like, I don't know. It was just but I'm sure there's like a how much do I give up front? How much do I even helping on the back end of helping? Like, because your time is money. Your time to help set up utilities and all those things take time.
Hmm.
But I'm sure it compounds and is the right thing to do. And your clients, like when your clients expect something, I think that's awesome, especially when it's
Yeah, and,
well
and
done.
I can sympathize too with the young realtor who wants to give everyone a pie because
Yeah.
I didn't get into education because I want to make the most money possible, right?
Sure.
So that's just not part of my background. But as an entrepreneur, I do need to have the bottom line set and
Right.
make sure I'm actually being profitable with how I run my business.
Yeah.
So it's tricky for me because I want to give everyone the service,
Sure.
but at a certain point you have to say, well, this is too much risk.
Right.
But it's more about just having that conversation with them and being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I love that. So I love the fact that you started a YouTube channel. I think that's excellent. Because there's really not a lot out there on Easton Park. Like
No.
which is wild, right? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like this like kept secret. So like when you started doing your YouTube channel, did you get a lot of people from out of state? Like what was your kind of like engagement activity with that?
So I actually started a channel called Living in Austin.
Okay.
And like I said, I thought Easton Park was too saturated with realtors. I thought no one would watch what I'd have to say. And then after doing the Living in Austin channel, it's basically what I do in Easton Park. It's a lot of, not so much market reports because that's very niche, but
Yeah.
a lot of vlog tours where I'll go to Georgetown and I'll show 3 different homes, all for 300,000,
Cool.
and just exploring neighborhoods basically, but all over San Marcos, Kyle, going out to Lakeway. And that was more to attract people who were moving to Austin from out of state. It was purely just for buyers mainly, showing them the different neighborhoods that we have
Yeah.
around Austin.
Cool.
But it was also, honestly, it was to help me know those neighborhoods better because I was new into the industry and I thought, well, let me do this. It's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone where I am becoming an expert, not just through saying I'm an expert, but I've been to those neighborhoods.
Right.
I've gone into those houses.
Right.
The reason I added Easton Park was just, like I said, I didn't see anyone doing a channel. I saw you guys. So I found
Yeah.
EPTV and I thought, well, that's a different niche where it's more of talk show meeting people,
Mm-hmm.
but no one actually going into homes and exploring Easton Park. And some realtors, I think Sherry does a monthly market report. So
Yep.
there are market reports out there. So I do that, but I also try to, just differentiate myself, but also think, what do neighbors want to see that
Mhm.
maybe no one's doing right now?
Yeah.
So doing the vlog tours, doing builder interviews and seeing what incentives they have. I think that channel, I get people who are thinking of selling actually,
Mhm.
which is surprising because I typically go into those videos thinking this is for people who want to move to Easton Park.
Yeah.
But I haven't really got that much from people who are looking to move in Easton. I think they watch my video, then go talk to a builder rep. probably.
Got you.
But I get a lot more people saying, I've watched your videos, and when it comes time to sell, we want to work with you.
Awesome.
So it's working of just, again, name brand and my neighbors kind of getting to know me through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Because there's a level of pride that comes to like owning a home, but like owning a home in Easton Park is really cool that they want it. Like if they're going to sell it, it's like almost like it's they're so proud of it. They want someone who knows the community, who knows how to sell the community. But interesting that was kind of the return on it was.
And this is still new. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I started the channel in April of this year. I was posting in the Facebook homeowners Facebook group, market reports, but it was just like a Canva sheet that I made once a month. I wasn't on camera or anything.
Yeah.
So this is all, we're 6 months into this experiment. We'll see, I have my own goals for 2025.
Yeah.
How many videos I want to put out, how much interaction I want to build. And then it's not just YouTube also. So I'm trying to, like I said, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I would be the grumpy neighbor that doesn't want to talk to his neighbors if I wasn't a real estate agent.
Okay.
So the amount of activities that Easton Park holds, I'm actively trying to be more engaged.
Okay.
Because before this transition, I was just happy to be, I have my wife, I have my dog, I have my 3 cats,
Okay.
I have my house. I'm good. I don't need anyone else. I got my friends. Now it's more of, okay, let's, knowing your neighbors is so new to me.
Okay.
And I know that's weird, but it's just honest. Like
Yeah.
the house I grew up in, my parents didn't talk to their neighbors. So that was the norm. That was, okay, you have your friends, you have your colleagues, you don't really talk to your neighbors. And now it's interesting going to events and actually trying to get to know my neighbors. So I did the Wicked Walk this year, which was really cool. I didn't know.
Is this your first one?
Hosting a booth. My first one was last year.
You hosted a booth. Oh my gosh, it's like hard.
I
It's so
didn't
many
realize
people.
that many children existed. It was like
And you were a teacher.
hordes. Well, not that age though. I didn't teach 5-year-olds.
Oh.
It was just constant, and it was cool because it really does feel like I'm giving candy to kids, but you're giving kids a fun time, and I'm wearing a ridiculous suit.
What were you
So,
wearing? You were wearing
a
a
Bronco
suit.
costume.
Of course.
So I kept forgetting that from their viewpoint, I was on a horse. I was just standing behind a booth. And then a little girl walked up behind me and just started slapping my tail.
Oh.
And it was one of
Interesting.
those where I was like, wanting to become a teacher. And I was like, can you stop doing that? But I don't know this kid. So
Right. Or the parent. Like it was my friend Emily and I, zombie invasion. It never stopped. Like Steve went, we love the Wicked Walk, and it's been really fun to watch it over the last 6-7 years.
I'm sure it's
develop.
grown massively.
It's insane. But my friend Emily was like, she was like, hey, she did art in the park, and she has an event coming up that you should go to. It's gonna be excellent on January 4th. It's called Art in the Park, and she got a grant from the city, and it's an all-inclusive creative space for kids and adults and everyone in between to come and do art, like be creative. I think there's gonna be painting and music and all kinds of very
Is
cool
it by the amenity
stuff.
center?
It's gonna be at
Or Skyline?
oh, Steve, do you know where it's gonna be? Art in the Park. Sorry, Emily. Emily's going to come on the podcast and talk about Art in the Park.
can look
and
it
so
up.
we'll definitely let you know. Yeah, that would be great because it's going to be very, very cool. But she loves the art. She loves the kids. And on the Wicked Walk, she was like, hey, will you come hang out at my booth with me just to keep me company? Because I'm going to be there, by myself to do glitter tattoos. And I was like, yeah, I'll come kick it with you at the Wicked Walk. Sounds great. And we learned very quickly that she needed help because glue, like the glitter tattoos, it's a process. It's a sticker, and then you put glue on the sticker where it's like a cutout, and then you put glitter on it. And we got overrun with children. It never stopped. I couldn't walk for days. Like my back hurt. Like she was like, I'm so sore. But the line of children never ended. Until it did, and you're just like, what just happened to us all? Like,
yeah, I thankfully asked Samantha, my wife, if she could help me set up the booth. And if she could just kind of be there for the beginning. And she was there the whole time because we were doing a raffle for our Legos. I'm also incredibly lucky. I'm married to an event coordinator. So
Awesome.
her job is events. So we went to the Wicked Walk last year and she said, okay, I know how we're going to do your booth. I know how we can make you stand out. So she just gave me the ideas of like, everyone loves Lego. Let's do a Lego raffle. I was like, great. And that was a huge hit,
Okay.
but that's a long line of kids like trying to fill out raffle cards. And so
Oh,
if I didn't have her there, that would have been a nightmare
yeah.
because there are other kids who are like, I'm just going to take this much candy. Is that cool?
Right.
So,
Yeah, which I mean is such a kid thing to do.
sure.
But you're like, no,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on. A
Right.
lot happening at the Wicked Walk, which is a
It
great
is,
event.
It's cool. It's fun.
So let's talk about Samantha for a second. 'Cause
Sure.
She sounds awesome. So she's an event planner.
Mhm.
Is she from Texas?
Yeah, she grew up in Katy, Texas.
Oh, very cool.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
lovely.
she was in band too. So
Okay.
we met through a friend of ours, joint friend. She went to Texas State.
Okay.
So I got to Texas State quite young. I got to college when I was 16.
Okay. You're
So
super smart.
Well, it's partly the Scottish education system and the Texas education system just go at different rates.
Okay.
So when I moved here, I was just ahead.
Okay. It's very, very humble of you, but
But
cool.
she went to Texas State too, but I just missed her because I was young when I got there. So we
Okay.
met later through a mutual friend at a board game night.
Cool.
And so I got her number at Texas State's 30th Centennial Alumni Band event.
Okay.
And we just happened to be standing next to each other. She was playing French horn and I was playing tenors, like drums. And we had met
Cool.
before, but then I actually got the courage, like, can I get your number? So, and it was easy from there. Just I
Cool.
think a year later. I mean, that was September 2019. So, I mean, we just beat COVID, thankfully,
Yeah.
because we had a few months to be comfortable, and then we were basically living together a lot during COVID.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Congrats.
Thanks.
Amazing. Does she still play the French horn?
No.
Okay.
She says she's going to get it fixed one day. It's just sitting in the
Okay.
garage.
Oh, but she still has it.
She has it.
Okay,
She won't
so
get rid of it.
It will eventually happen.
But no, she works at Red Velvet, which is an events company in Austin.
Nice. Very
Mhm.
cool. That's really, really awesome. That's a big one in Austin. Like
Mhm.
that's a well known
Yeah, she loves it. She just started working there this past year.
oh cool.
She was doing events for software companies,
Mhm.
and she just didn't enjoy it because it's a software company, so they have 2 people as their events department, and they just don't get treated that well. So her
Right,
working
but
with an events company
Yeah.
is like-minded people. Everyone's working towards these goals. So she
Events
loves
are
it.
hard. Like that's not a simple it's high stress, high reward, high stress.
And
high stress.
irregular schedule.
Yeah.
1 week she has nothing, and then I won't see her for 2 weeks because they're prepping for a big event.
It's so cool.
Mhm.
It's so I don't know. I always I couldn't do it, but I always event coordinators just have a different gear than most people of organization and drive and that's super cool.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
we both love to travel. So
Okay.
it was great when she was an event coordinator because she would get free air miles. And so that just led to us going to Canada for whatever reason. It was
Love
nice that
that.
way.
I love that. So another little tiny awesome business in Easton Park is Sinizo. Have
Mhm.
you
Yes,
Have
we
you-
have been there.
okay, what do you order?
It's funny. I'm just going to say it on camera. You have little things with your husband or wife where you say dumb things
Yeah.
and it's just become a thing in your relationship.
Uh-huh.
Samantha called it Sinizio for so long, and I waited so long to correct her, but I also wasn't sure. And then finally I was like, I think it's Sinizo. And she was like, is it? No, I'm pretty sure it's Sinizio. And now we just call it Sinizio because it's funnier to say it like that.
Yeah,
So I'm probably going to mess up the name of it
it's okay.
the rest of this interview.
I'm sure that Harrison and Nancy are fine with it.
Okay.
There's a group of people that were calling it Senzio,
Oh.
but the N's in the wrong place for it to be Senzio.
What does it mean?
It's a plant. It's
Okay.
I think it looks like a sage plant, but it's not. I don't really know. Harrison and Nancy, if you should comment on this and tell us what a Sinizo is.
No, we love it. I
Yeah.
love coffee. So
Okay.
especially it's a problem now working from home where I can just go, I'm going to have 2 pots of coffee a day and no one can tell me otherwise.
Right.
But it's been fun, especially as the weather's gotten colder. We'll walk. It's about a mile walk, so not great,
Okay.
but from our house down to the food truck park.
Mhm.
And it's such a cool food truck area.
It's so cool.
That's my one concern. Everyone's worried about the growth of Easton Park and what's going to happen to our small community with retail coming in. And I think everyone's excited about HEB, but
Of course.
the one concern I have is let's keep that. We have to keep the food truck park. We have to keep going there and spending money there and keeping them afloat.
Yeah. For so long, there's nothing here.
Mhm.
We would have to negotiate with Craigos Pizza to deliver to us like back in the day, because like Papa John's is down on Thaxton and it was fine.
Sure.
But like there was nothing. And then now to have the food trucks, it's excellent. And they're great. Like
Yeah.
the Thai food place. Have you tried it?
I did.
It's
just past week.
So good.
Yeah.
All of it's really good, but Siniso is excellent. Do you have like
have you had the Turkish food yet?
I haven't. No, I never like if I go down to that side, I always go with the Flautas truck to El Paso.
Gotcha.
Which is have you had the
I haven't had El Paso.
Oh, they're so good. Get the number 2.
I happen to one of my lease. I sometimes help landlords just try to find tenants, and one of the leases I helped were the people who own that Turkish truck who run it.
Oh, really?
Seville and I forget her husband's name, but they don't speak English. It's all Turkish, and so it was really interesting working with them because they were the renters, like coming in. So I wasn't representing them. I was representing the landlord, but they needed help, like understanding the process. So I kind of just gave my services for free, basically. And it was really nice helping them get that place because they also have a son that's elementary school age. Oh, and they were having to travel like 30 minutes away to run their business. And it's like, let's get you here where your son can walk to school. You can walk with him. And then you two can walk to your
food truck.
Yeah, your job together.
That's amazing.
So that was really cool. I was like, let's please close this deal for them because it's going to be perfect.
And
for
the
them.
Food's good?
I haven't had it yet.
Okay.
I feel so bad. I need to go visit them.
Yeah. I want to try it. I always end up just going to either getting tacos or El Paso Flautas are.
La China was like that's the only place we went for a long time.
And they're gone now, right?
Are they?
Are they still there?
I hope they're still there. It's kind of away from the rest of the food trucks. Like a little further west to the right. It's a red food truck. I hope they're still around
anymore. A bunch of them left. Like Blind Man's Barbecue left. Yeah. Maybe they're still there. Maybe I just haven't noticed. But it's such a cool little spot, and I love going on the weekend and just seeing like kids playing and neighbors hanging out, and like it's just very cool. Yeah. It's a very cool community thing, and I agree with you that like no matter how big it gets, no matter what happens, like I really hope that stays like they call it Treehouse Park. And Emily, who's going to do the art in the park thing, she painted the mural of Treehouse Park on the rabbit hutch. If you haven't been in a while, go check it out. It's very cool.
Where's the rabbit hutch?
If you know where the tree is with the piano and the treehouse, if you're like looking at the house, there's a rabbit hutch. It's now tie-dyed colored. It's very cool. Like,
yeah, I'll have to look at that.
You won't be able to miss it now. But there's rabbits. Oh, there's a couple rabbits by the chickens and the rooster. It's a cool situation.
It's another one of those Easton Park things where I'm like proud so I don't have kids. Like we're not planning on having kids. But my best friend lives up in Gerald. And him and his wife, far. Like I said, it makes more sense to me to live in North Austin, but I love Easton Park too much.
Yeah.
They come to us for all the big fireworks shows.
Cool.
So and it's cool when they come here because it's nice that we don't have to go. I mean, we're gonna have a McDonald's. Nothing against McDonald's, but I still want to promote like let's go to the local interesting thing that is unique to us that you don't have in Gerald.
Yeah, like the food truck park.
Right.
Like all those little places. And it's just very unique and very cool. We like to talk about food and drinks and bars and brunch. So do you have favorite restaurants in the area that you like to go to?
I'm not much of a foodie.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say Chick-fil-A as an answer.
You can say whatever you want.
That's my go-to. I love Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Even with all the drama coming out about Chick-fil-A and the antibiotics, I don't care. I love Chick-fil-A.
It tastes the same to me.
I'm going to eat it no matter what. Like,
I can't I can't lie to myself.
Yeah.
It's too good.
It's very good.
I have no idea as a business model if I agree with them. I have no idea about that. I try to keep my head in the sand with that. I want their chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
I used to like Snooze. I don't know how you feel about it. It's kind of gone downhill to me.
Yeah. I feel like Snooze, everyone says Snooze when we talk about brunch. And they're like Snooze, and everyone says it the same way. Like, I kind of like Snooze. It's good. It's a good go-to. It's like a good breakfast sandwich. Good, whatever. But like, it's a chain, whatever.
Right.
And I think that's Snooze. Like, it's good. I've never had a bad meal at Snooze, but it's never been just like, oh my God.
We used to love it, but the past couple have not been great.
Which one do you go to?
East 5th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's cool. That's a good one. The one that I've been to is the one on South Lamar.
Mm-hmm. That was the first one I went to.
They're all, I mean, it's the same, no matter which one you go to. Like, it's good.
Yeah. I think my favorite type of food is Indian food. And Asiana, have you been there?
No, but I love a good, I often forget about Indian food, like being a thing, and then I'll have it, and I'm like, oh my God, I love
so good.
It's so good. What did you say?
Asiana. It's on South
Asiana.
First Street.
Where on South
Wait,
First?
no, it's not. It's next to my vet, Century Animal Hospital. It's on William Cannon. It's really close to I-35 and William Cannon.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
It's very good, and it's Indian food.
Mm-hmm.
I love Indian food, and you get to eat with your hands and bread.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the best. What about are there bars that you guys like to go to?
I don't really drink.
Okay.
So I actually quit drinking 2018.
Okay.
So that was like a very good thing for me to do
Excellent.
that.
Okay.
I definitely had an issue with alcohol.
Okay.
So all through my 20s. And it's funny how my life has changed since I drank a lot. And
Yeah.
then I decided to become like completely sober, like nothing.
Okay.
And a year later, I meet my future wife. And everything is just so much better. Relationships are stronger. So
Awesome.
I just don't really go to bars at this point.
Fair.
Yeah.
Where everyone in Easton Park's thrilled about drinks, backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've gotten the pizza there. That's good.
I'm so sorry to tell you this, but they're not there anymore. I know.
No Lachina, no drinks.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
The coffee place there, if you like coffee though, the coffee truck, and
I haven't been to that one.
it's called Later Gator, I think.
Okay.
And I have not had it because I feel like we'd be cheating on Sneeso, but apparently it's like very good, very like very complex coffee drinks that she does there, and people that talk about it love it. So check it out.
Yeah.
And then the barbecue truck outside of drinks is pretty good. Smoke and Brews barbecue.
I haven't had that yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Good burgers, good like tater tots and stuff. Like
Mhm.
their mac and cheese. They have brisket mac and cheese. It's really good. But yeah, and I think that there's a woman in the neighborhood who, I think her name's Esmeralda, if I'm remembering correctly. She cooks like food for people, and you can buy it from her and she'll bring it to you. But it's like homemade Mexican food, and it is, from what I understand, delicious.
Where do I find her?
On Facebook, I think Steve will pull it up. He's gonna pull it up. Yeah, you just like people order on Facebook, I think, and she makes like enchiladas or empanadas and all kinds of stuff. And there's someone who does like a pumpkin sourdough bread situation on Facebook. I think I'm not on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in a really long time. But I think that on Work Wednesday, yeah, that's her. Like she makes, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have to try that out.
Yeah, check her out. We should have her come on the podcast. And
With
she
some
could bring
food?
Yeah, I was gonna say she could bring a prop. We could eat while we talk.
Set up a little chef's table here. Like,
Yes.
teach us how you make your quesadilla.
Your tacos, your whatever. Like, this is the best job ever. I get to eat and talk to cool people. Amazing. Dang, she's got all kinds of stuff. Pine House.
How? So you just search Esmeralda in Easton Park Homeowners?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there you go. You'll
Wow.
get a delicious meal. Yeah. So if anyone in Easton Park or anyone in the world wants to work with you, how do they find you? How should they contact you? Like,
Sure. So the easiest way is to find my YouTube channel, Living in Easton Park, or Living in Austin, Texas. You'll find my face as the profile picture on there.
okay.
And the description, all the videos have my contact info. So phone number, email address. You can call, text, send me an email, schedule a Zoom call. I have that link up there too. I prefer Zoom calls, especially with someone who's just meeting me for the first time, so I can really get to know their personality and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest way. You can also go to my website, danielsharp.exprealty.net. I don't really go to my website that much, but I mean, it's there. It's something my brokerage offers, so
Yeah.
something you can check out too.
I went to your website today. I thought it was excellent. It
Yes,
was
thank
really
you.
organized. The pictures were great. Like what was available was very clear. Like I thought it was
Thank
great.
you. I spent a lot of time organizing it early,
Yeah.
and then I just never went back to it because I was so focused on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, you did a great job because I went to today. I learned everything I know about you.
Oh,
It was
good.
basically from your website, which was cool. And then I think it's cool that you put that you were a teacher for 10 years before. There's something really endearing about that, about like the teaching
Well,
world.
it's part of my personality, and I think
Yeah.
it's a strong thing. You know, I struggled going into this thinking, I can't tell people I've only been doing this full time for a year because then they're not going to trust that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's all about honesty. And
Mhm.
so me having the integrity of, no, I got my license in 2020. This is the timeline. This is the reasoning. And now we're at this point. I can only really say how it was and not. I have met realtors who maybe not say all the facts to make it sound like
Yeah.
the best possible outlook.
Sure.
And it's just not, I can't do it. It's not my personality. So
Yeah.
I'm proud that I was a teacher for 10 years. Like I
Yeah.
said, I learned a lot of skill sets from that, and I want people to know that.
I think it's great. On the teacher side, also, like, so teaching drums,
Mhm.
something's the drummers are just cool. Like, people that drum, like, it's like you have like kind of an understanding of, there's like a psychology to drumming, right? Of like keeping the beat. It's how people move. When you take drums out of music, it sounds funny.
Mhm.
What's your favorite thing about drumming, and like what got you into it?
Honestly, my favorite thing about drumming is the hang. It's the drummers. It's having those conversations that is so important in the moment of you're an eighth note, or not even eighth note, you're a hair behind on that entrance. Can you listen to that again? Okay, we lined it up that time. I taught high school. I also taught drum corps, if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's basically professional marching band. So
Okay.
it's top tier players.
Okay.
So teaching at that level and then teaching WGI groups, which is like indoor drumline. I'm saying a lot of acronyms, but
okay.
it's top tier players. So you're not dealing with, this is an eighth note, Susan. It's, you're playing really well. Let's now focus in on this tiny little thing to make it just a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
That's really fun to kind of geek out with
Okay.
those people because it's such a unique skill set that you're speaking a very, if anyone else walked in, they would think that sounded fine.
Right.
But the four people in the room know, no, that attack was a little bit late. So let's do that again. No, he was squeezing too hard. So let's do that again. I think that's definitely my favorite thing is definitely the personalities and being able to speak and hear the same things as I'm hearing.
Yeah.
What got me into it was just natural ability.
Okay.
Was very lucky to, I moved here from Scotland at 11 years old and didn't know anything about Texas. I remember landing and asking my mom if they had turkeys in Texas because I had turkey a lot in Scotland and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And she said, yeah, they have those here. Like I knew nothing. And I was just a weird kid at 11 years old with a weird accent. So when I found out I was good at drumming, it just became like self-esteem out the roof all of a sudden. Like the confidence that finding what you're good at and then you can build your identity around.
Yeah.
That was so important to me to get through middle school and high school.
That's super cool. My cousin Ryan is a drummer. We do music in the park. I don't know if you've experienced music in the park yet.
I've seen the emails, but I've not gone to it yet.
Yeah.
You guys have hosted some of those musicians here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some of those videos.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It was very cool. During COVID, we were out kind of in our front yard killing time like everyone was doing. And we love live music. And Steve was like, we could do music here. People could sit across in social distance at the park across the street. And he did, before being an HR professional, and we both work in our business full time, he did audio video, which is where a lot of the know-how of this comes from. And so we had Jackie Vinson, who is an incredible musician. She was our first concert here, which we were both like inside screaming, like internally. Her mother-in-law lives down the street here, like 4 or 5 houses down. And for Mother's Day 2020, she played like a little garage concert for her mother-in-law. And those of us who were super fans, like moseyed down to listen to Jackie Vinson play. She's incredible. She plays the electric guitar. She plays like guitar and piano. She went to Juilliard or Berkeley, I don't remember, but just incredibly talented, incredibly like super educated. We had her play, and then my cousin Ryan is in a band called Swimming with Bears, and he's the drummer. And I grew up right next door to him, and he always had a drum kit, like always. Like even when he was a kid, it was like a paper. It was like not quite paper, but just he's a kid banging on stuff. I guess you don't want it to be super loud.
Sure.
But he's always played the drums, and that kid, if he's holding a pin or a drumstick, he's always spinning. Like, do you do that?
Yes. Fidget a lot.
Is that a thing?
It is. I've learned from many girlfriends to stop doing that because it's very annoying apparently in relationships.
Fair enough.
Of just like constantly tapping on them, and they're like, stop doing that.
Always drumming, always moving his finding it, like tapping his fingers or like on glasses and like all the stuff, which is great. But yeah, we had we had several concerts here, which was awesome. It was just really cool to support the arts during COVID because they weren't playing anywhere. Like
Okay.
we were one of the only open venues in town, really. And we had people we had Tony Camel, who's a Grammy nominated artist who lives here in Austin, play in our garage. Like just incredible. And then we partnered with the HOA because it was a lot of event planning that neither one of us are excellent at, and a lot of stress. It's our home. We were letting people go into our house, use the restroom during COVID. It was just like, it got to be too much. So we partnered with Colette with the HOA, who is Paul before Paul.
Okay.
And Paul's wonderful to work with also, but it's been really fun to put the concerts on. So I don't know how many we're going to have next year. I'm really pushing for more than 4, but it depends on the budget. But you should come check them out. They're really, really cool. And if you ever want to sponsor or say words on the microphone, we get a pretty good audience anymore. And we just love supporting musicians, and it's very cool. Like it's always just really fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'd love to
Are you in
help that.
Yeah. Are you in a band? Like,
no.
okay.
It's always odd with being a drummer because most people see drummer as drum set player.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my weakest instrument.
Oh, you're like,
so marching percussion, marimba, like playing keyboard instruments.
Okay.
Like all of it's percussive.
Yeah.
So
you're like, so I'm picturing you on those like da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Exactly, like a xylophone.
Yeah, that's so cool. But like on the drums that are like bigger and then they get smaller, like in the drum line where it was always the coolest thing. Like and pep rallies when they'd come into like the gym with the drum line, it was so loud and just like so fun.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That was more my speed. But then people asked me play a drum set and I'm like, I can do a basic beat. And that's about it. So
very cool. Very cool. Well, Daniel, this was awesome. I've really enjoyed chatting. Is there anything else you want to add to the podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay. No? Yeah, we know how to get a hold of you. Steve will splash it all up on the screen. And it's been excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.